Hello and welcome to Your Magical Year, the New Year's guide that I, Luna, the Witch of Hillcrest House, have created for 2025. I wanted to just do a really quick run through about this guide. It will be available on my Etsy shop once that gets up and running, and that is Hillcrest House Witch. It will be available through my Instagram. I'm thinking PayPal or Venmo until I get my Etsy shop up and running. So the first thing that you come to is the roadmap, and there are 4 sections. So the first section is the year in review. So we want to look and reflect on the year that has passed, 2024, so that we can kind of clear it out of the way and make room for 2025 and all of the energy that that's going to bring into our lives, because we want to cleanse before we manifest, right? Like we want to clean our rooms, we want to clean out the cobwebs, we want to celebrate our accomplishments, and we want to just kind of like troubleshoot the things that maybe didn't go quite right this year. It's not really about beating ourselves up, but it is about, reflecting so that we know where we came from, so that we know where we're going. And then the next section is divining the year ahead, and that is all of the divination practices that go into the start of the year. So gathering all of the energies. That's like the year card. It's the year numerology. I have both universal and personal meanings in there. I have a couple of divination spreads, some other things like crystals and plant allies that go into setting up the energies, so that we kind of get a peek behind the curtain of the universe in what is kind of coming up for us, so that we can better align our goals before we create all of these goals and it turns out really a year where we pull back. It's really a restful year, not a taking action year, or vice versa. It might be one where we're really being called to take action and step up, and maybe we've made some more like restful goals, or some balance in between. And the third section is goal setting. So this is the meat and potatoes of the guide. This is talking about our plans for the year ahead and taking in the things that didn't work from last year and the divination that we've done this year, and it's creating our goals so that we really know the direction where we're headed in the upcoming year, and we can start manifesting our best lives, our best selves, and putting the best foot forward. That's goal setting. And then the 4th section is New Year's Magic, and New Year's Magic is about all of the little things that go into like spell work. There's a diffuser blend in there. There's a couple different things. There's like a candle spell. But yeah, so we'll get to the New Year section and we'll talk about the magic that we're going to create with that. So then we have a little welcome section and how to use the guide. And how to use the guide, it can be used in January. It's geared towards a March start, the spring equinox. So that is really the time of like taking action. That's the time of like new beginnings. That's the time when we want to be planting our seeds and setting our goals. It's really kind of hard to think as a witch if you work seasonally. And if you're kind of like the northern hemisphere seasons, I can't really speak to the southern hemisphere in this because I don't know what it's like to have summer in December. Winter is a time of like rest, a time of reflection. It's not really a time for goal setting. When you get to January, the common example is I'm going to go to the gym this year, and then a week later you fall off. It's because it's really a time for rest and reflection. And not to say that you can't like do restorative movements and things like that. It's more of just like resting and reflecting and introspection and getting cozy and all of that juicy, cozy, like goodness, right? It can be used on New Year's Day. It can be used in January. It's kind of set up to work at any point of the year, but it is also really geared towards a spring equinox start. That being said, this just kind of goes over the different sections and what you can expect from them. And then we come to our first section, which is the year in review. And then from there, you have some information, like some overview about releasing the past and why it's important to look back and reflect. And then capturing it's either your word of the year or capturing the essence of 2024 in one shot. And then we've got some like memory keeping, and it either goes through January to December. I also have it set up so that it goes from Aquarius to Capricorn, because Aquarius is January's season. So you kind of can look back and reflect on the year that you've had. And then some favorites of the year. So we've got like food, song, things like that. And then we dive right into the reflection question. And there is just pages and pages and pages of the reflection questions to make sure that we've really kind of got everything distilled that was held in 2024. And it's also good to just like, it's a memory keeping thing to look back and realize how far you've come next year. Be like, wow, this is where I was at in 2024 and I'm stepping into, 2026 now. And 2025 was an amazing year of manifestation for me. It's amazing to see how far I've come, and you have concrete evidence of that. Then we have your goal recap. So this is all the goals that you set last year and whether or not you completed them. It's rather short. I'm the type of person where I've filled out those like 100+ lists of goals that I want to make this year, and it didn't really work for me in the way that I thought was like really beneficial. Like I'd do some stuff, but it was never really more than like 50% of the goals, because it was too many things to juggle. So I've really distilled the goals down, and we'll see that in the goal setting section as well. You're more than welcome to create more goals than this. This is just what I have in the book. And then, at the very last page is dump anything else that you want to release before we move forward. So this is just your space to, like, if we didn't cover it in a question, you can dump it here, and then you leave it here, and then we move on to the second section, which is divining the year ahead. Like I said, this is using card pools, it's using numerology, it's using some like crystal and plant energies, things like that. So then we jump right into, this is your overview of the divination that's involved in this section. Then we jump right into the card of the year. And it walks you through how to select your card of the year. And then there's a number of pages of just a really quick, 1 to 2 sentence synopsis of the energy of that card for the year, if that happens to be your card. I really encourage you to kind of take that and run with it and expand it as much as possible. You're going to be sitting with this card for an entire, 365 days. So I really encourage you to get deep with that energy. And then we come to what is like my personal favorite spread, which is the astrological forecast spread. And this walks you through 12 card pools for each of the 12 houses as a look in areas of your life in the year ahead. And then we have a year ahead spread, which is either January through December or Aries through Pisces season. And then I've got space for you to reflect on that. And then we've got the numerology and then the universal number, which is 9 this year. And then I've got personal numerology spreads here. And then we've got your crystal ally. So this is like, by now you should start getting a sense of like what the year is going to entail. And if not, you can always come back to this page too. But this is requesting that you pick a crystal or a plant ally to work with throughout the year. And it's got some examples and things there. And then this is just your divination recap. So this is everything in one page. So like the universal number is, what your personal number is, any notes you want to take. It's right there at a glance for you. And then we have the goal setting section, which is all about, how to set smart goals. Once we've kind of thought about the kind of goals we want to set, we have a quantum leap meditation here for you so that you can jump right into that 2025 energy. Like you can come to the end of that and see, where have I gotten with all of the goals that I have set. I have a mind map here with various sections. So like creativity, spiritual growth, to get you thinking about the kinds of goals. So you can see, if you're really heavy in one area or if you're really like light in others, you can kind of balance out your goals. And then we've got looking ahead, which is more spreads, then your 2025 goals page, and then goal mapping. So I think it's really important as witches that we take not only mundane action, but magical action, right? Like I am a culprit of actually taking too much mundane action and not enough magical action. So this is, here's your goal, and then here is steps to take, and it's 2 mundane goals and 2 magical goals per goal. And there's several sheets of that. And then we have 25 and 25. And this is just like a bucket list of stuff that's not necessarily goals, but like experiences that you want to have. So it's like, oh yeah, like I want to watch this TV show this year. It's not a goal necessarily that you have set. It's something minor, something that you just want to experience. If you're like, oh man, I really want to like look forward to this movie this year, or, I would want to take a trip. All of that goes into the 25 and 25, and you can cross it off as like a little bucket list throughout the year. And then we've got more questions. I told you this is chock full of questions. Like you're really getting deep, you're really getting concrete with your answers and your responses to the questions so that you can feel solid, that you know what your goals are and why you're setting them. And then we come to your 2025 word of the year. This is that one word that just kind of encapsulates everything that we've been working on so far, like your card energies. It doesn't have to, but usually it does. Energetic words of the year, your goals, how you want to feel, like what you're aiming toward. And then we've got a section, and this is my absolute favorite because I am a huge Virgo moon, and this is the magical planning section. So the way that this works, this is my signature style, and this is your solar calendar and your lunar calendar. And what you're asked to do in this section is to pick one or the other, and it explains a little bit about what those are. And then it goes over just basic energies of like moon phases, seasons, and days of the week, right? Just for quick reference, so that when you're planning out your goals, you kind of know, oh, it would be really good to set a financial goal for like a Thursday, for example. So maybe you want to set like a money date on Thursdays, or maybe you want to set like some self-love stuff on Friday. This really helps you kind of map out so that you can be a witch right from the start. Like right from day one, you are already witching. You've done the mundane into the magical, like you are ready to go. And then we've got create the calendar. So this is the lunar calendar, which goes new moon to new moon, and then the solar calendar, which goes from the first day of the astrological season, so when the sun moves into that sign, to the last day that sun is in that sign. And so you pick one or the other. Typically you can do both. I've used both in the past. I tend to stay with one more than the other depending on my needs. But here is a list of the moon phases throughout the entire year. So this is your new moons, your first quarter moons, your last quarter moons, and your full moons. All of the dates written out from the time that Aries season starts to the time that Aries seasons ends. So it goes from 2025 to 2026. And then I've got your Sabbat dates like right there. So you already know from the beginning, you're like, oh man, I didn't, want to miss that full moon, or I always miss that full moon. At least now I know where it is. So you're going to put them into the calendars on the following pages. So it starts off with a seasonal bucket list so that you have an overview of the season, and then it goes for the next 3 astrological seasons, and then it switches over to your summer bucket list, right? These are blank calendars, and they are blank on purpose so that you can write in the dates from your lunar or your solar calendars here, and you can put them here. And then once you've got your dates all mapped out, you can take the moons or the sabbats or whatever other important information is in this section for you. You have it laid out on a calendar, so you're already looking at it from a witch's mindset. You aren't looking at it from the traditional calendar where you might have to remember where the season starts or when the new moon is. You can track it from a new moon to new moon cycle with the lunar calendar, and you can go, okay, great, I've set my intention on the first day of the season or the first day of the Aries new moon, and you're like, great, I can see all of the progress that I've made in one little capsule, because that's really what months are. They're little capsules to see the energies and the progress and the things that you've brought in and let go in one snapshot. That's what I really love about this planning system. Then you can put in all of your other dates on top of that, whatever is important to you. So then I've got it all laid out for you here. So that's the spring, I've got summer, we've got autumn, and winter, of course. And then at the very end, it ends in Pisces, and it's got the cheat sheet dates up here too. So it says like February through March 2026 for Pisces season, so that you roughly know what month you're in, because we still have to look at it from a mundane mindset. I wish it wasn't the case, but like we haven't developed an entirely different witchy calendar system to go by, so we still kind of have to fit into that mundane world. And then we have the New Year's magic, which is your releasing. There's a checklist, there's an oil, there's a jar spell. We've got some vision board stuff. I'm really, really excited about this section. And then the last page, which is just, finishing everything up and taking action. And that is your magical year 2025.